Chapter 2. The night was full of horrifying dreams. I had too many nightmares. In one of the dreams at night, I had turned into a mere exercise book. Stella was holding the pen and was writing on it. All of a sudden, from nowhere, Kiadadu grabbed the book and threatened to burn it. Stella was begging him to give back the book. She leaned towards him trying to grab it, but a kick threw her on the ground. He drew from his pocket a matchbox and tried to light it. It was then that Stella stopped pleading and instead grabbed the chair and hit him on the head. The matchbox fell, but before Stella could lay her hand on it, he grabbed it again. He tried to light it again. Stella saw the disaster and grabbed a panga that cut through the arm of Kiadadu, who groaned in pain. He dropped the book and the matchbox and ran away, leaving part of his head from the list on the ground. He was bleeding so much, and the path he followed was stained with blood. Stella sat down and started lighting again. All of a sudden, Kiadadu appeared with a cloth bandage around the cut arm. He took the piece of his heart lying on the floor and threw it into his pocket jacket, and then grabbed the panga that lay bloody on the floor and held it ready to finish Stella. "Salah, wake up. You'll be late for church." My mother captured the dream. It was on a Sunday, and going to church was our way of life, which kept our family together. I slipped out of bed with laziness and headed to the kitchen. The night was not good, and I was hungry. I opened the pot and with a serving spoon poured cold githeri on the plate. I grabbed salt and rice with a spoon. I mixed it. I poured tea from the thermos into a cup and headed to the sitting room where I nourished my body. I went to the bathroom, then dressed and ready for church. All the while, my family had left. The cows mooing was too much, and it caught my attention. I went at the stable and checked their feeding troughs. They were empty and dry. I knew they were fed after milking, but then maybe they were so hungry, and the morning feeding was not enough to fill their stomach. I went back into the house and changed again, and with gumboots, I started cutting the napier grass for them. I filled a bucket with bran and a gallon of dairy meal and salt and mixed them together in the trough after cutting the grass. I then poured water. I went back into the house, and with a quick bath, I was ready to leave. I locked the house and hurriedly left. I saw a car, just like our pastor's, parked by the roadside. As I neared, the car window was lowered, and as I was passing, Stella popped her head out and called me. I pretended not to have heard, but Stella insisted, and I stopped. "Hey, Salah, where are you in a hurry? By the way, we are heading to church. You can hike for a lift." Without a word and with hesitation, I hiked. Stella and the pastor seemed to have reconciled. I couldn't help from listening to their mocking conversation. "Pastor, I'm so sorry. I misbehaved yesterday," she pleaded. It was a real joke to me and a shocker at the same time. "I will do as you wish. Just give me the money I need to accomplish your joy." She leaned back on the seat and held the pastor's hand as if counting his fingers. Oh, Stella, poor Stella. What was the meaning of that? Was it the beginning of what was yet to come, or was it the betrayal hope? "Thank you so much, my lovely Stella. You almost killed me. Could we meet tomorrow at the bank and settle the matter?" He happily compromised. The car was ignited, and within minutes we were inside the church. There were children playing and two groups of women gossiping. One was seated where Stella confronted the pastor, while the other was at the incomplete church hall. When the car was stopped, they all stood and walked towards the church. The doors were opened, and out was Stella and I. The women couldn't hide their surprise as the rumors had started spreading. Some just gave a gaze, and others seemed to enjoy. The car was parked where anyone in the church could see it, and so all people were stretching their necks to see what was going on, peeping through the windows. A guilt feeling crossed my mind as I thought of what had stirred in the minds of the congregation. Was this a tact from Stella to confirm the rumors? I helped the pastor carry the briefcase to the vestry before entering the church. Stella waited for me, and we went in together through the main door. The choir was singing, or rather warming up, keeping the audience busy. The service was late that day. The pastor had hot issues to attend to. Stella and I sat on the same bench. After 5 minutes, he entered, escorted by church elder. He had changed from suits to a white and green cloak with some red patches, as was normal of the church. I gazed at him and thought of deceit in the hearts of the children of God. How devil can manipulate anything to hurt God. I thought of the fight between light and darkness, lies and truth, how lies triumphs and how truth though slowly reveals itself. I wish to see the day end and someone to tell me that the strange acts of Stella were a part in a movie. For the first time in my history, I had a nap in church during sermon. I was woken up by the choir preparing the congregation for the offering. I woke up with a throbbing headache. I looked at the pastor seated on the holy chair in the altar, unmoved and clapping to the beat of the offering song. I watched the usher bring the whole offering to the altar, and the pastor moving to the pulpit to receive it, and made a prayer of acceptance and blessing to God. My heart was broken. I had had enough gullible. I went home. Stella had left before me without notice. My routine in life was broken. On Sundays, I arrived home at around 4 o'clock in the evening, as we spent time at church rehearsing for new songs and group chats. Nobody expected me home so early, and not only that, arriving before them. I left the church feeling sorry, desperate, and empty. There was so much gossip that afternoon, as the youths narrated to each other how Stella reacted the day before, and the show she created that morning on the ride to church in the pastor's vehicle. The loud hush had really stirred the minds of many people, and her mission was in their first little steps to her freedom. Sarah, you left the church so early today. Were there no rehearsals today? My father arrived and found me preparing the family lunch. I have a headache. Last night I didn't sleep well, I answered. My mother found me home too and was astonished. As we were having lunch, she became curious of some rumors she had heard. Whatever drama Stella put up that Saturday spread like the scent of cakes being baked or like a broken sewage. Sarah, what is going on between Stella and the pastor? Everyone is talking about him. Some are saying she's pregnant, others are sick, and all that is pointed to the pastor. Whatever people are talking is too complicated to believe. Someone must be tarnishing the pastor's name. No. You know, Stella and I have not been so close. Anyway, people can say anything. They like spreading rumors without the truth making matters worse. But time will tell, I added. Knock, knock. Someone was knocking on our door. Yes, welcome, the door is open, my mother answered. The door lock swung, and there entered the Queen of Truth. Welcome, Stella, have a seat, I welcomed. How have you been? It is long since you visited us. Welcome again, Sarah, get some food for Stella. My mother welcomed her again. Thank you, she said as she shook hands with my parents. That was an unexpected visit. Stella was no longer the jovial girl she used to be. She could force a smile on her lips. Deep inside, you could tell she was hurting. It was not as radiant as it used to be, as radiant as what Kiadadu must have seen when he resolved to destroy the life of Queen Stella. She was my best friend, but then our friendship fell apart with strange hatred for a reason I could not tell, and bitterness towards me. But then, a friend in need is a friend indeed. As much as Stella needed my friendship, And again, for good reasons, I couldn't harbor bitter feelings towards her, but to hold hands and work as one. That loud, our friendship was towards accomplishing a mission, and that was it. After having lunch, we played our favorite game of Scrabble. Stella was talking a lot. She had a lot of stories to narrate. We would stop playing and just listen to whatever she was saying. I couldn't understand how or why she put herself into so much danger of abortion knowingly. The worst was her messy act past year. She was booked to a hotel by Kiadadu and was given some medication that backfired. She took the medication and slept. Within an hour, she was awoken by bouts of pain, followed by heavy bleeding. She bled as the pain changed from worse to worse. She tried to move her body, but she couldn't. It was then that she thought of calling Kiadadu, but was unreachable. Her body could not hold the pain or the bleeding any longer, and she fainted. Later, she woke up on a different bed with a quack doctor who had prescribed the medication to her. Later on, she was checked into a different hotel where she body by eating all sorts of goodies and body-building food. She stayed indoors for a month. That was when I was able to reconnect a story that has done so much in her family. Even though Stella was always out of school, her parents were so worried of her whereabouts, and they had come to inquire for me. Even though her reputation was in question, added to her rebelliousness, she was still a child. Her parents were so confused and worried that they reported her disappearance to the police and waited for the outcome. It was after 1 month that she appeared home, healthy and as shiny as they had never seen her. Her parents were happy on seeing her, though their hearts were in sorrow. They could not understand how their girl, whom they had tried to instill good manners, could be so disrespectful to them. Not only that, but also what triggered the sudden change from a good, responsible girl to a careless and bad-mouthed one. They hoped to see her change each day and maybe accept going back to school. Stella wore all the clothes in fashion. The worst was that she wore some clothes that drove older people closing their eyes as she passed. Whenever she was in the village, it was a routine for every child, boy or girl to showcase how she walked or wore. Not only that, they would follow her to her gate only to make sure they get a glimpse of the queen. Most parents were so worried of the reputation their children were learning from her, and most of the time confronted her helpless parents. After much lobbying, she resolved on going home with a taxi that dropped her at the gate, not walking the 500 meters to her home. Her parents could feel the cars surrounding them, but they had how to make it a blessing. Her mother was always in sorrow, and her father always blamed the mother. It was terrible at her home, but she was unshakable. Her mother prayed so much and so unfortunate. She would go to the pastor that they may pray together. This led the pastor to mark a day in every month just for prayers direct to the children. He did all he could, but the worst was that he was the one destroying the angels. Stella's mother had no clue of what was happening and could not suspect the pastor in any way. However, he was the only person she could learn to for hearts in prayer and solace in God. Everything about Stella and Pastor Kiadadu was like walking in a forest at night without moon in the sky or a torch it had. It was painful, as it was a mixture of secrets, hypocrisy, and innocence. Whoever tried to search answers never got them, but ended up in confusion and pain. Only Stella and other culprits would blip out the mask and let the world see the light.